Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. The common misperception is that Bhagavad Gita, it's something my grandmother used to read to me. And reading the Gita is pious, it's punya. Don't nod your head, because that isn't the truth. It's meant for something much more. Bhagavad Gita is news you can use. It's meant for daily application. It is the operating manual for life in this world. Everything you buy, even canned corn, which we don't eat. We like fresh stuff to offer to Krishna. But it will give you instructions. Believe it or not, next time you're in the grocery store, look at some canned item. You'd think that a trained monkey could do it, right? Open can, pour in saucepan, stir to taste. This is a true story. So they used to have the instructions on canned corn. Hang on the lights for a minute. They used to have the instructions on canned corn. Just stop, thanks. On canned corn. And so they figured this is advertising space. Why are we wasting it, with this? A trained monkey could do this. They took off the instructions how to heat canned corn. This is true. They were flooded with letters. People were trying to open it with their mouth, stick it in their microwave and blowing up their microwave. They had to put the instructions on. My point being that even something so simple comes with instructions. Do we think that we're in this world, which is a giant machine? It has laws of physics, laws of chemistry, so many things. It's a big operating machine. That's what yajnas are for. They're how to work our way through the laws of this material world. So you think it doesn't come with any instructions? Just figure it out on your own? Good luck with that. How's that working out? So actually the owner's manual, the instructions for how to live in this world, is contained in Bhagavad Gita. So I thought I would take some verses from the Gita on a particular topic and show how it has practical application. If something doesn't have practical application and benefit, people won't do it. If it doesn't have practical application, doesn't have practical benefit, they won't do it. So this is news you can use. So let me just start off. Anyone have any trouble dealing with their mind? Yeah, there's an honest man right there. Yeah, the mind is as Krishna says in the Gita, the mind is our best of friends and our worst of enemies. The uncontrolled mind is the worst of enemies. Causes anxiety, tension, fear, envy. So many things are rattling around in the brain. And you can't escape it. You can't escape the mind. Something going on here? Something's going on. All right, whatever. Okay, so are you the... Okay, move ahead. Thanks, Prabhu. So you know the old joke? That's all right. Anyone know the old joke, where does the 2-ton gorilla sit? What's the answer? Anyone know? Maybe some of the kids know. Where does the 2-ton gorilla sit at a party? Nobody knows? Next. Oh, I didn't give the answer. Anywhere it wants. Where does the 2-ton gorilla sit? Anywhere it wants. You're not going to argue with the 2-ton gorilla. It'll have you for lunch, although I think they're actually vegetarian to be. So my point is that the uncontrolled mind Krishna says in the, well, I may have it later on, but it's more difficult to control than the wind. And we're being pulled this way and that. Next. Krishna says in the Gita, these are all verses from the Gita. My point being to showing how reading Gita with the right commentary, you have to have it explained, not the Penguin edition or Swami Bhogananda. You've got to read from someone who's a practicing bhakta, coming in a bona fide disciplic succession, a line of guru, master, and disciple. You've got to have commentary from the right source. Suppose you come to my office. I'm a doctor, Dr. Swami. And you come to me and you've got a cough. I need a little something for my cough. And I come out with a saw and a hammer. And I say, open up. Whoa, whoa. Where did you go to college? We don't see your medical degree here. And I say, no, I didn't go to college. I didn't go to medical school. I never interned. I'm just figuring it out myself. Are you going to let me have at you with my hammer and my screwdriver and my hacksaw? Whoa, no thanks. And yet, I got kicked in the head by a mule and realized that I'm God. I mean, I won't even mention the name, but she's famous as the hugging mom. Maybe you can figure out who it is. She literally said she got kicked by a mule when she was 8 years old and realized she was one with everything and that she was God. I think something got knocked loose is what actually happened. So just because somebody's in saffron and has a long beard or whatever it is, what's their qualification? You want to find, I don't want to spend too much time on that. But here Krishna says in the Gita, so you have to read the Gita with the right way to open it up, to understand it. So you have to get a Gita with the right kind of commentary. So one must deliver oneself with the help of one's mind and not degrade oneself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul, that's us, and the enemy as well. Next. The uncontrolled mind creates stress, anxiety, anger, and fear. It's just flying all over the place with all kinds of stuff. I was speaking one time, and there was some lady sitting in the front, and one lady was, behind the other lady, and I saw her reach forward, and she was checking out the sari. Is it silk? Is it rayon? What, Some people are, he's got a bigger car. What car did he get into? He's got a beat-up 10-year-old Toyota, and I've got I'm better than... The mind has got so much stuff rattling around it, and it just creates anxiety. Stress, anxiety, anger, and fear. We have a friend who comes to the temple, I got to keep an eye on the time, who is in charge of some of the road crews that clean up the freeway, for Caltrans. He's a supervisor. He's got 25 teams out there. You know what they find? Just in San Diego County alone, they find an average of 5 cell phones a day on the side of the road. You've heard of road rage? People just lose their temper. They get bad news on the phone. Their girlfriend broke up with them or their stock market crashed. And they're so agitated, they throw their phone out the window. They're called chuckers because they chuck their phone out the window, throw it out their window. And Caltrans gets called all the time, every day. I lost my cell phone. I threw it out the window on I-52. Did you find it? And they find them sometimes and give them back, So just imagine how agitated the mind has to be. That's an extreme example. But it gets us in all kinds of trouble. Next. Our mind can be our enemy. This is all just for fun. Let's see if I've got this right. Okay. So see this merry-go-round going around in the mind? Guilt, shame, doubt, guilt, shame, doubt. It's all just going around in the head. Sometimes you get on a mind loop and it just keeps going. Sometimes people can't even sleep. They got to take a pill to go to sleep, and they got to take a pill to wake up and feel happy. I mean, so our mind, these are some examples of how the mind can be an enemy. Next. Just as a big bull is controlled by a ring in the nose, although by nature free, we're pulled left and right by the very strong mind. This is an example from the Bhagavatam. You know, you see a little farmer, little boy or little girl. You see it in India, you see it all over the developing world. They just can pull you. Take this little girl here. Hello there. Don't worry. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. But she can control a bull. I've seen kids this size, big bull. Because the septum, you know, that part of the nose is very sensitive on the bull. And if it has a ring through it, they feel some pain. So a little child can control the big bull. So if we don't, the nature of the soul, us, we're not this body, we're not the mind, we're the soul riding in this machine made of material energy, Krishna says. So we're free by nature. But we're being pulled by the mind like a bull is pulled by a small child. Next. Perception determines experience. It's not what we think is true becomes reality. It's not necessarily the truth. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So here's the world we live in. And this is, we think everything's working on by Heisenberg's gas law and Newton's laws and this and that. But there's a whole other reality. If you can break free, see how this guy's breaking out of the cover? There's a whole other higher dimension. And human life, Atato Brahma Jigyasya from Vedanta Sutra, is meant to break free from this small material conceptions to the bigger, fuller conception. Here's what I mean. Perception determines experience. Next. Our experience depends on our angle of vision. If I'm hiking up a hill, I can only see 10 feet in front of me, this bush, that bush. If I'm on the top of the hill looking down, I can see the whole thing. I can say, hey, don't go that way. There's cactus, there's a rattlesnake, whatever it is. No, go the other way. So depending on your angle of vision, you see it completely differently. Here's some practical examples. Next. Everybody see the seagull? You kids, you see the seagull? Quack, quack, or whatever sound seagulls make. See the nice beak, see the little eyes, see the neck? It's a seagull, right? Okay, next. Hang on a minute. You see the rabbit? See the ears? See the nice eyes, the little nose, cute little bunny rabbit? Okay, go back. Seagull, go forward, rabbit. We'll do it one more time. Seagull, rabbit. See the difference? It's what you expect to see. Your perception determines what you see. The truth is actually, imposed on by our mental conceptions. Next. Here's one for fun. Which way are the birds flying? Are the white birds flying this way or the black birds flying that way? Which way are the birds flying? Huh? Yeah, you think so, but what about the white birds flying the other way? It all depends on what you expect. According to your conception, that determines what you experience. So what's in the mind and what's in the intelligence actually determines our experience. That's extremely important. People think, well, if I just move to a new place, I just get a bigger house. If I just, in American culture, if I just dump my wife or dump my husband and run off with the guy next door, then I'll be happy. But it's got nothing to do with creating our happiness. Because wherever you go, there's a saying, I forget who said it, wherever you go, there you are. In other words, wherever you go, you take your mind, your ego, wherever you go, whoa, I got the same situation. Because your perception is determining your experience. Next, I think I have one more of these. Okay, is this a side view or a front view? This one will bend the mind. Huh? What do you think? Front or back? Is he looking forward or is he looking sideways? It depends on what you look for. If you think, okay, I want to concentrate on him and looking forward, okay, there it is. If you think, no, 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 I want to, according to your conception, then you perceive. Okay, next. I think we're done with that. So our premise, the point we're trying to make, is change our perception, our angle of vision, and we will change our experience in the world. It's not our surroundings that determine how we feel. It's our conceptions that determine how we experience the world. Two people can be in the exact same place, having the exact same sensory experience. The eyes, the ears, the tongue, the smell. And one is happy and the other was miserable. Exact same sense, according to the conceptions that are resting in the mind. Next. So, you know they have an off button on those things? And when you turn it back on, the bad news will still be there? I'm just joking, but thanks. Okay, so it's relatively easy to understand that we're not this body. You know, the body changes, it grows, it diminishes. We're black, we're white, you know, whatever. It's easy to understand that this is a machine and I'm riding within it. But usually we think, I'm the mind. Somebody told me the other day that their body is just so they can move their mind around. So they're thinking they're their mind. But the Vedic conception, coming from the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, is that we're not the mind. Behind the mind is the intelligence. But we're not the intelligence. We're actually the soul that is working through those mediums. You can be working on your computer, may it not happen, and your computer can crash. You can't function. But have you dropped dead? You're driving in your car, it runs out of gas. E doesn't stand for eternal, stands for empty. So if you're driving your car and it runs out of gas, do you pass out in the driver's seat? You're completely separate from that. So we're not this body. We're not the mind. Those are vehicles. We're not the intelligence. Those are vehicles that the soul works through. Next. And this is from Gita. There's the verse. The senses are superior to matter. The mind is higher than senses. Intelligence is higher than the mind. The soul is even higher than the intelligence. See, if you don't have, why does this matter and how does it connect with perception? If you don't, excuse me, if you don't understand who you are, what is Socrates? Know thyself and to thyself be true. So you have to know who you are. If we're thinking with this body, if we perceive that way, there's a whole set of demands. If we think that they're mind, there's a whole set of demands. If we think with the pride or the ego or the intelligence, there's a whole set of demands. But who are we really? And if you start with that foundation, I'm the soul, then all the other subsidiary conceptions become subordinate. So what this means, I don't know if you can see here, but see the horses? Oh. All right, I guess he's going to put us in, well, whatever. See the horses? Each of these horses has a sense on it. Eye, ear, tongue, nose. Then there's the reins. Then there's the driver. There's the passenger. So you've got the chariot. You've got the horses. You've got the reins. You've got the driver. And you've got the passenger. So what is the analogy from the Gita? Jai Radha Gita Dari, Jai Shishikurnathan, Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. The horses are pulling the chariot. We've all seen enough cowboy movies or, you know, the Mahabharata, they're chasing on the chariot. So the chariot is compared to the body. Now what pulls the chariot? What pulls the body are the senses. The senses are sending impulses. The eye is seeing, the ear is hearing. Oh, he's ringing the bell. Oh, what does that smell? Oh, they're offering prasadam to Krishna. Smells nice. Maybe there'll be a good dinner. You know, whatever. We're getting raw data for, oh, it's hot, it's too cold. Oh, hey, maybe the building's on fire. So we're getting all kinds of raw data via the senses. And they're pulling the body this way and that. So you've got the horse, you've got the chariot, which is the body. You've got the horses, which are the senses, drawing us out into the world. And what the senses do is send raw data. And then the mind is like the reins. You see the reins here? The reins, they put it all into data packages, basically. Here's all the raw data, and the mind takes that and says, oh, here's what's happening. You could do this, you could do that, you could do this. You know? The building's on fire, you better run out the door. Oh, no, they just turned on the heater, and so, it's going to cool off in a minute, Oh, then I don't need to run out of the door. So, you follow that? The senses are giving raw data. The mind puts it into data packages. Okay, what about those different, data packages? That's where the driver comes through. The driver then, aided by the false ego, makes a decision. Like you look at a menu and then you click on this and then it opens up. So the intelligence, you're getting the raw data, you're writing in the body, you're getting the raw data, the mind is telling you here's the different options you have, and then the intelligence, influenced by the ego, decides what to do. Okay, I'll take that, I'll go this way, I'll go that way. And we, the soul, is simply the passenger. We're just along for the ride. And you've all seen enough Mahabharata movies or the cowboy movies, either way. What happens if the horses are just let run free? If you notice here, this guy is just about to go over a cliff. So if we, only in America and only in the West, there's a saying, dogs run free, so why can't we? Just legislate, if it feels good, do it. Well, dogs run free, so why can't we? What's a good answer? Simple answer? Well, you're not a dog, Oh, okay, There's some restraint, some intelligence. There's prayas and shreyas. It's described in the Gita, that there's a short-term benefit and there's a long-term benefit. Most kids, after some time, or not every day, don't want to go to school. Sometimes they like to go to school, they like to see their friends, but they don't want to go every day, So if the parent, thinking they're kind, okay, I won't make the kid go to school. The kid's happy. I remember sometimes I didn't want to go to school. My mom would say, well, listen, if you have a temperature, I'd put it, kids don't try this at home, I'd put it next to a light bulb. And I'd heat it up till it got, oh, geez, he's got a fever of 100. I better not send him to school today. I think, great. Stay home and watch television in my days, and watch cartoons or whatever it is, So suppose the parent says, okay, go ahead. You don't have to go to school. Okay, the kid's happy for some short period of time. Kids want to eat sweets. I'm not going to eat vegetables. I'm not going to eat roti and dal. Forget it, man. I want potato chips and ice cream. Okay, so I don't send the kid to school, and I let him eat potato chips and ice cream. People will say, geez, I wish my parents were more like Swami's parents. That's where it's happening. Okay, when that kid gets to 23, 24, 25, and because of all the sweets, they're toothless, and because they didn't go to school, they're thick as a brick. So it is that dull-headed, toothless person. Are they grateful to the parents? Think, whoa, why didn't you make me go to school and brush my teeth and eat, So my point is, if we understand who we are, then it gives us a buffer, a time delay between the impulses of the mind and the senses. So it matters. Next. Persons in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always know within themselves that actually they do nothing at all. Hare Krishna. They're just along for the ride. And this, you can see the soul is actually, the soul is the constant through all these bodies. Anyone know the riddle of the Sphinx? Anyone know the riddle of the Sphinx? The riddle of the Sphinx is, what animal walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the afternoon. Anyone know it? Yeah, what's up?
I'm human.
What? How can that be true? Please explain it to me.
Because the morning is like when it's a baby, so it crawls.
Very good. And what about the 2 legs?
And then the 2 legs when it grows up,
Okay.
and then it's walking on 2 legs.
What's the 3 legs?
When it has a walking stick and it's
Exhibit A. Very good. I'm impressed. So the body's changing, but the soul is the constant. So we're the soul. So we have to think, okay, what are the temporary benefits of the body and the mind? Somebody made me angry, I want to punch him in the nose. That's a, stimulus response, stimulus response. But the intelligence says, hey, if you do that, he's going to punch you back. And he's about 5 feet bigger than you. Okay, hold on. So using our intelligence, that's a simple example. But it's true in life. If we understand the soul, what is the best thing? Okay, next. The goal is to learn the art of becoming introspective sages. This is the verse that Krishna used, the term that Krishna uses. To think about things before you act, before you do it. What is it, Nike, just do it? Isn't that their slogan? I remember reading that and thinking, just do it? Shouldn't you think before you do it? That's just a knee-jerk response. So where's that going to get you? Next. This is from Gita. All these are either from Gita or modern phrasings of Gita. My point is, you read the Gita, there's a whole lot of information that's applicable to life that will make you happier. As a lamp is in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in meditation on the transcendent self. There's a next. Oh, there it is. There's another verse from Gita. So many rivers enter into the ocean, but the ocean remains steady. And think about that for a minute. Go home, you can Google it. Look at the Amazon or the Nile or the Mississippi, what to speak of Mother Ganga, where they open into the ocean. You can Google it. It'll tell you so many millions or billions of tons of water are flowing into the ocean at every minute. I mean, you can check it out. I mean, the mud from the Amazon goes out something like 12 or 15 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean, turns it brown. So much water is going into the ocean. But if I turn on the faucet in my bathtub and I just let it run, what happens? Kids, don't try this at home. What happens? Help me out. What happens? It overflows. So if you've got the Amazon, the Ganga, I mean, whatever, the Nile, the Mississippi, the Volga, there's so many billions of tons of water. Doesn't it seem logical that the ocean would, like a bathtub, fill up and flood us here in PB? It doesn't move an inch. It just follows the tides. So the example Krishna gives in the Gita, as so many rivers enter into the ocean, but the ocean remains undisturbed. The senses are sending so many agitating things. But the introspective sage is like deep down in the ocean, deep in their consciousness, not on the surface being disturbed by everything, but they're deep because they're moored, anchored in deep conceptions of Bhagavad Gita. So they're not just blown by this way or that agitation or this agitation. Okay, next. Oh, wait, go back. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a person's intelligence. You ever been talking on the phone? Don't try this at home. You ever been talking on your cell phone while you're driving and shoot right past your exit? Has that ever happened to you? Yes. Yeah. Of course, hopefully you're not talking and driving, but we all have our moments. And you fly right. So we get distracted. The intelligence is completely lost. That's a simple example. And if, okay, next, because I don't want to stay too much longer. All right, fine. You painted a particular scenario. It makes sense to me. So what do I do about it? Help me out. You know, where do I go from here? What's some practical application? Otherwise, what's the use? So I already explained Gita is the owner's manual, the operator's manual, how to live in this world. Next. Here's a very important conception. You ever seen a light go through a prism and it breaks it into the color band? Okay. Rupa Manohar, didn't you used to break down lasers or study different types of lasers? And they're Krishna saved you. But anyway, so material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. I'm only going to take a few minutes, but this is important to understand. From three primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, you can combine those together with different ratios and get every color in the rainbow. Red, blue, and yellow, they're called the primary colors. And you can get every color in the rainbow. So similarly, all human nature is created by a combination of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness is compared to yellow, passion or rajas is compared to red, and blue is compared to, ignorance, tama, is compared to blue. And goodness or sattva is compared to yellow. So these three combinations, goodness, passion, and ignorance, create all human nature. When we are in contact with material nature, we become conditioned by these modes. Next. That we'd explained. Next. Creation of all mental states and natures, like 3 times 3 colors, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 9 is 81. It multiplies. And that creates all the different subtle types of, every one of us is a little different. We're each under a different combination of the modes of nature. Why does that matter? Next. Looking at the same object, experienced 3 different ways. If you look through yellow, through goodness, you see one way. You look through red, you see one way. You look through blue, you see another way. You ever put on different, color shades and you can see the world, feels it. Looking through life through rose-colored glasses. So it has an effect. So I actually had this experience. See that lizard? It's an iguana. It's a specific type of iguana. And I was driving in Mexico. It's a long story. And we saw people by the side of the road. I had this happen to me in Jamaica one time. A big iguana ran across the road. Some guys slammed on their car in front of us, jumped out and went chasing after it. They didn't catch it, luckily. So I asked them, I said, what are you doing? They say, what do, man? We eats. They're going to catch that iguana and eat it up. Yum. Anyone want an iguana pakora? I mean, jeez. But that's the mode of ignorance. It's the mode of ignorance. They're looking at the world through that. Mode of passion. I saw they were selling them on the road in Mexico, and they were selling them as pets. You buy it home, you take it home as a pet. So that's the mode of passion, we could say. And a Vaishnava, a merciful devotee, someone in the mode of goodness, thinks, oh, that poor thing. What kind of soul, what was the karma that put that soul in a lizard body? Because we've all had different bodies, 8,400,000 different species, it says in the Rig Veda. So we think, oh, chant Hare Krishna to it, give it a little Mahaprasadam. So its next life it gets to be a human being. So same object, seen through different, modes of nature. Okay, next. Hare Krishna. Thanks for coming. So happiness in ignorance. Again, seeing through 3 days. If one's in the mode of ignorance, this is from the Gita. Happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusional from beginning and end, which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be in the nature of ignorance. You see this bomb. He's thinking, one more bottle and I'm happy. You think he's happy? From an objective point of view? No. But he's thinking, 8. One more bottle. Next. Happiness in the mode of passion. This is all from the Gita. That happiness which is derived from contact with the senses, with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be in the mode of the nature of passion. It's happy in the beginning, but it's bitter in the end. The guy's got a brand new red Ferrari. Boom, boom. I show off to all my friends. So he's speeding past all his friends, and what happens? He's got a ticket. So it was happy in the beginning. What is this? Okay, so much for that. He's happy in the beginning, and it's bitter in the end. That's the mode of passion. Next. Happiness and goodness. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Sometimes, I was giving the example earlier, I may not want to go to school, but I go to school and I get educated, I get a better job, I become a better person. So I don't like going to school, let's say, but I perform a little restraint, a little tapasya, a little austerity, and it pays off in the end. I'm a sannyasi, I'm pretty much beyond all that, trying to be a sannyasi. You know, but someone may be married and think, oh, this other life, she's prettier than my wife. I'm going to dump her and run off with this other woman. Happens all the time. But what happens? The kids are fried. Sometimes they lose their job. They lose their respect. They marry the other woman and then find out that she's got the same set of issues. I should have just stayed with my other wife. So a little restraint, a little tapasya, it's maybe difficult in the beginning, but it's much better in the end. Prayas and shreyas, short-term and long-term benefit. So next. I think we'll end here. But it's descriptive diagnosis. Understand where we're at. Prescriptive, cure. Understand what to do if we want to change. I go through later on, because we should end here, but in the Gita, what is the first thing you need to cure a disease? Okay, you need a good doctor, you need medicine, but what's the next thing that needs to happen? If you want to cure a disease, what they say, such and such is 90% of the cure. Anyone know? If you get it wrong, you still get prasadam. Don't worry, we'll still be friends. Okay, follow the prescription, but what do you have to do before you follow the prescription? Diagnosis. You have to have you get the right diagnosis, then you know what to do. So if you're feeling lazy, if you're feeling morose, if you're feeling angry, which we all get affected by at some point in time, well, what do I do about it? What's going on here? Hang on a minute. I'm not going to just do it. I'm going to analyze what's happening here. I got to get a good diagnosis. What's the problem? The problem isn't that I'm not making enough money, or you have to maintain your family and do whatever. But I'm just saying, what's the real problem? I should analyze that. And Bhagavad Gita will give the description. Oh, you're feeling like this? That's because you're in the mode of ignorance. Oh, you're feeling like this? That's because you're in the mode of passion. So you can analyze what are the factors that are causing me to feel like this. So that's descriptive. That's diagnosis. Okay, well, where does that get me? Then it's prescriptive. Bhagavad Gita is prescriptive. It's the cure. Oh, you're feeling like this? And we're going to end. But when I go through these other slides, Bhagavad Gita explains what you eat, there's happiness in the mode of ignorance, happiness in the mode of passion, happiness. There's so many different things. And if you eat, let's take food for a moment, just for a minute. If you eat food in the mode of ignorance, it's putrid, it's cooked 10 hours before. I saw something in the store. It was called Forever Milk. And it was unrefrigerated. They nuked it, microwaved it, they cooked it, they stuffed it it had no food value. And who knows what diseases it caused, but you could leave it on the shelf, unrefrigerated, for months. I mean, what is that? What to speak if you're eating animals? I mean, you know, what does that? I mean, meat. I mean, you all know this, but do you know that meat is dyed and full of preservatives? If you take whatever and they pack it up, so I mean, even then it looks nasty, but that stuff is actually left, because by the time you get it, not you, but whoever buys it, that stuff is at least 7 days in the pipeline. Usually it's about 2 weeks. You take a piece of meat and you leave it out for a week, it rots, it putrefies. I mean, it just, and then you're going to eat it? I mean, without even dealing with the karmic side that you pile on your head. Just imagine. So if you eat that stuff, it puts you in the mode of ignorance. If you drink, I saw a t-shirt the other day. It said, instant idiot. Just add alcohol. We all know it's true. So if you eat things in the mode of passion, go to Korea. They eat stuff, what's called kimchi. Is that what it's called? It's got onions, garlic, and red peppers. It's a sauce. And it'll remove paint. It's so intense. You eat that stuff, wash it down with some alcohol or beer, have a hamburger. What do you think that you are what you eat? What do you think that does with your consciousness? So my point being, just take, and Bhagavad Gita goes through all of these different habits, how you deal with other people, the type of austerities you perform, everything's in these modes. If you're feeling this way, that's the description. Stop this, do this. There's a whole list of food in the mode of goodness. Fruits, vegetable, milk, cooked fresh, what to speak of offered to Krishna and prasadam. So my simple point, we'll end here because of the time factor, is that Bhagavad Gita is sublime news you can use. You have to get the right Bhagavad Gita. You have to get a Bhagavad Gita as it is, not as, you know, you can get Bhagavad Gita for golfers, where Krishna's the caddy and Arjuna is the golfer. I mean, what? I swear, no, you can, there's probably on Amazon about 36 different versions of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says himself, if you want to understand the science of Gita, you have to hear from a devotee, someone who's practicing it, who's coming in a bona fide line of master, disciple, master, disciple. So we'll put out some Gitas here. What does a softbound Gita cost? It's $6. I mean, I don't want to Oprah moment, but what do people spend on a Starbucks? How much does a Starbucks cost? Nobody wants to say because, well, don't worry about it. But I think it's like $6, something like that. And sometimes people have 2 or 3 a day. What you spend on a Starbucks, I'm sure you get decaffeinated. Whatever you get on it from Starbucks, you buy yourself a Bhagavad Gita. It'll serve you well for the rest of your life. It's a Bhagavad Gita. It's got the original Devanagari or Sanskrit. It's got the word for word in English, and it's got a full commentary or explanation. That's the kind of Gita you want. And it's by someone who's coming, Srila Prabhupada, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. What is a hardbound Gita? $10. I mean, it's nothing. I don't get a commission, don't worry. So I'm not, I have no motive in this. But I'm just saying, you take home Bhagavad Gita, and we have tech support. Hey, we've got tech support. We have a Gita class. We've got Gita online. You can, we've got Ask a Monk. We've got so many, you got a question, you can just text it in. Devotees will give you an answer. You can come for Gita class. You can do whatever you want. But there's no good excuse. You're already spending that much money on who knows what. Get a Gita, take it home, read it, and you will find, oh, this is why I don't like feeling like this. This is why I'm feeling like this. What do I need to do? This is what I need to do about this. Prescription, description, and prescription are all there in Bhagavad Gita. So it's essential to life. We'll end there because we're way over time. We'll set out some Gitas here and take it home. I will make you a promise. How about this? I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I could drop dead. That's another thing. But I'll be here. Govardhan here. Govardhan will be here. Buy a Bhagavad Gita. You can put it on a card. Whatever, you know. $6 for softbound. $10 for hard. You read it for a month. You read 5 to 10 minutes a day. I mean, people are reading the back of the cereal box. They're looking at MSNBC or whatever, you know. How long do you spend doing that? Bollywood movies? Take 5 or 10 minutes a day, or every other day. We'll cut you some slack. And read Bhagavad Gita. You do that for 1 month. And if you don't feel your life profoundly changed for the better, you bring it back here, I will personally give you your money back. Money back guarantee. What do you got to lose? Take a Gita home, read it 5 minutes a day or every other day. And if you don't feel, wow, after a month, this has made a profound difference. I'm not just saying something light. Let it soak in. Take it home. Read it 5 minutes a day. A good Gita, the right Gita that you'll understand. If you're not happy in a month, we will give your money back. What's to lose? So please, because we're begging you. We get letters at our publishing house, our English language, North American public. We have many divisions, different languages and stuff. They get a box of letters every week, boxes of letters. Oh, I got Gita from college students, from housewives, from businessmen. How their life, how their life has changed for the better. So that's our motivation. We just want to see people happy. Vishva Purna Sukhaya. Vaishnava just wants to see everyone happy. Okay, we'll end there. Thank you for your patience. Hare Krishna. We can shut this off. What's the homework? You all have a homework assignment. Huh? Get a Bhagavad Gita. Before you read it, you got to get it. Yeah, by who? Arjuna is the cat. All right then, if you've got it, read it. If you don't have it, get it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay.